My friend, if you're seeing this, understand, it is no accident. You have summoned this moment into your awareness, and not with effort, but with a subtle and powerful shift inside you. The moment your consciousness opened to the possibility of abundance, the flow of millions began moving in your direction. Let me tell you this: you are the creator of all you experience. The world, with its limitations and rules, is a reflection of your assumptions, and when you assume wealth, quietly, confidently, and persistently, the world has no choice but to mirror it back to you. Wealth is not earned first in the outer world. It is claimed first in imagination. In the quiet stillness of your mind, you may feel the weight of a gold coin, the cool swipe of a black card, or the joy of total financial freedom. That feeling, when it is real to you, becomes the seed of your experience. Millions are not attracted by chance or luck. They respond to the law of consciousness. This law says, what you are conscious of being, you become. So if you walk in the state of, I am wealthy, I am a millionaire, I live in endless supply, that inner state calls forth its match in the outer world. You may say, but I don't see the money. Yet, I say, the seen follows the unseen. The tree was once a seed. The river began as rain. And wealth, too, begins in the invisible place where you dare to believe in it. So I ask you now, can you believe it enough to feel it? Not hope for it, not wish for it, but assume it. Live as though it is already so. Speak from that place. Walk from that place. Sleep in that state. And soon you will discover the message you are hearing now was not predicting something far off in the distance. It was revealing a truth already forming, already blooming. You wouldn't even be here unless the millions were already in motion toward you. So now, accept them. Let this moment mark the end of waiting and the beginning of receiving. You are already rich. Simply claim it within, and the world will deliver it without. The millions are not coming. They're already here. You are the only operant power. This truth is simple yet infinitely powerful. There is no external force determining your fate, no outside circumstance shaping your reality unless you first give it permission through your inner acceptance. Everything you see around you, your environment, your finances, your relationships, your opportunities, all of it is a direct reflection of your inner state of being. It begins within your own consciousness, and it ends there too. You are not subject to the whims of chance, fate, or even the opinions of others. You are not a victim of the world. The world is a mirror held up to show you yourself. Every belief you persist in, every assumption you dwell upon, takes shape and form in the world of experience. If you believe you are unwanted, the world will reflect rejection. If you believe you are chosen, blessed, wealthy, or powerful, then those things will appear around you like shadows cast by your inner light. The power to create isn't something you have to earn, learn, or discover. It's something you already possess. The moment you observe a condition with awareness, give it meaning, and accept it as part of your truth, you breathe life into it. Your assumption, once accepted, becomes a command to the universe. It matters not whether the assumption is positive or negative. Your consciousness makes it real simply because you believe it. Most people live reactively, constantly responding to external circumstances, never realizing that their own thoughts were the seed of those very circumstances. But you are not most people. If you're hearing this now, it means you're being called back to your rightful place as the creator of your experience. No one else is thinking in your mind. No one else is feeling in your heart. Therefore, no one else is creating your world but you. This is not to say you control others. It means you control your relationship to others and the world. When you change within, the world you experience changes without. This is why no effort in the external world is ever as powerful as a shift in internal conviction. One quiet moment of true belief, of knowing, can move mountains more surely than years of striving. So accept this fully. You are the only operant power in your world. Everything begins in you. When you claim this truth and live by it, your entire reality must obey. Imagination is not mere fantasy or idle daydreaming, it is reality in its earliest and purest form. It is the workshop of creation, the unseen realm from which all seen things emerge. Everything that exists around you, the clothes you wear, the home you live in, the life you lead, was once imagined by you or someone else. It began as a mental picture, a feeling, a vivid impression held within the mind, and once it was accepted emotionally and believed with conviction, it moved into the external world and became tangible. The mistake many make is dismissing imagination as make-believe, thinking it is separate from what is real, but nothing could be further from the truth. Imagination is the source of reality, not an escape from it. The outer world is simply a shadow, a delayed echo of the images and assumptions you entertain within. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you consistently believe to be true, especially those beliefs that are emotionally charged and deeply felt. To imagine vividly is to create deliberately. When you close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire, not as a wish, but as a present fact, you are giving instructions to the invisible forces of creation. If you can hold that inner scene long enough and feel it as though it were happening now, you set in motion unseen currents that begin to reshape your outer world to reflect that inner state. The world does not change first so that you can believe. You must believe first through imagination, and then the world reflects that belief. This is not a process of effort or force. It is a gentle inner knowing. You do not beg for the life you want. You assume it. You become it inwardly through the power of imagined experience. When imagination and feeling are joined together, when you see yourself with clarity and feel the truth of what you see, manifestation becomes inevitable. It must appear, for reality is always trying to match the blueprint you hold within. If your inner world is chaotic, doubtful, or fearful, the world will mirror that confusion. But if your inner world is rich, clear, and filled with conviction, the world has no choice but to bring that richness to life. So begin now. Use your imagination not as a toy but as a tool. Enter into the scene of your desired life. See it, feel it, accept it. For what you imagine with faith is not fiction, it is your future in motion. To bring millions into your life, you must first feel the reality of already having them, not hope for them, not wish they might come, but dwell in the inner state where the money is already yours. The secret is not in doing but in being. When you embody the feeling of wealth, when it becomes natural, effortless, and familiar, the outer world must eventually conform to match that inner state. This is not about pretending or playing a mental game. It is about emotionally accepting right now that your desire is already fulfilled. The mind may resist at first. It may scream that it's not logical, that the bank account says otherwise. But your senses only report the past. They echo former states of consciousness. To change the future, you must shift how you feel now. The moment you feel rich, safe, powerful, and abundant, without any physical proof, is the moment you begin to create those exact conditions in your world. This feeling is not based on fantasy, but on the inner conviction that all things exist in imagination before they appear in form. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to make that state alive within you. And whatever lives within must express without. How would you walk if you already had millions? How would you breathe? How would you speak, think, and treat others? Begin to answer those questions not intellectually but emotionally. Begin to embody that version of yourself, that confident, generous, secure version, the one who no longer worries about money because the abundance is done, here, real. When you persist in this state long enough, reality bends to fit your conviction. This feeling becomes your home, your new identity, and from that identity life responds. You don't chase the millions, you let them find you, because your energy, your frequency, is now a perfect match to their presence. The wish fulfilled becomes the dominant tone of your being, and the world plays along. You will be amazed at the synchronicities, the opportunities, the unexpected channels through which money flows, but none of it is luck. all of it, is law. The law that what you feel consistently becomes your life experience. So dwell not in lack but in fulfillment. Don't ask when it will come. Say instead, it is mine now. Feel the joy, the freedom, the gratitude, as if it were already done. And soon, the millions will no longer be a vision in your mind. They will be a reality in your hands. The world you see around you, the events, the circumstances, the outcomes, is not the cause, but the effect. It is the shadow cast by the light of your inner state. Reality, as you experience it, is always lagging behind your imagination, your beliefs, and your assumption. The seen follows the unseen. Most people live backward. They wait for proof, for external evidence, before they allow themselves to believe, to feel hope, or to step into abundance. But that is not how the law works. The outer world is never the origin, it is the reflection. What you accept within yourself as true, what you consistently feel and assume, eventually shows up around you, not because you forced it to, but because you became the version of yourself to whom that reality naturally belongs. If you are seeing this message now, it is no accident. Something in you has already changed. You may not know exactly what moment it happened. Perhaps it was a small decision, a quiet conviction, a simple desire repeated often. But the shift has occurred. You would not have been drawn to these words unless your deeper self had already moved into alignment with greater abundance. This is how creation works. The unseen, your thoughts, your feelings, your inner knowing, begins the process. It sets the tone, and then in time, that tone resonates outward and organizes the external world accordingly. So if you are experiencing a delay, if you are wondering when your desire will appear, know this. Delay does not mean denial. It simply means the world is catching up to your new identity. Stay faithful to that identity. Don't look to the world for reassurance. Look within. Feel the truth of your abundance. Rest in the knowing that what is unseen today will become seen tomorrow, not because you forced it, but because you believed in it before it appeared. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are remembering that the change has already begun. This moment is a signpost, a message from your higher self that says, keep going. The outer is about to reflect what the inner has already become. The seen always follows the unseen. And when your inner vision is clear, when your assumption is firm, when your heart knows that it is already done, nothing in the world can stop it from manifesting. The unseen abundance you've already claimed is now on its way into form, and soon your outer world will have no choice but to show you what you've already dared to feel within. To bring any desire into reality, especially one as significant as wealth, the key is persistence in assumption. It is not enough to affirm wealth once, or to feel abundant for a few fleeting moments. You must live in the assumption of wealth with unwavering consistency. The assumption that I already have it must become your default inner state, not something you visit occasionally. Most people shift between belief and doubt. One day they feel aligned with abundance, the next they question everything. But creation responds not to fleeting emotion, but to sustained conviction. The universe reflects back to you the state you persist in, not what you hope for, not what you sometimes feel, but what you continually assume to be true. If you assume wealth not as a fantasy but as a living reality, and you do so persistently, the world must align with that truth. It is law. What you hold within becomes the pattern the outer world follows. But you must not let current conditions distract you or weaken your assumption. The outer world is always lagging, always echoing past beliefs. To let it dictate your inner state is to live in a loop of repetition. To persist is to ignore the appearance of lack and continue inwardly declaring, I am wealthy. I already have all that I need. This doesn't mean forcing thoughts or pretending something you don't believe. It means gently but firmly returning again and again to the state of the wish fulfilled. When doubt arises, you don't resist it. You simply don't feed it. You return to the feeling of already having what you desire. This is the quiet power of persistence. You begin to live from the result, not toward it. You move, think, and speak as the version of yourself who already has millions, flowing with ease. You do not need to convince the world. You only need to convince yourself. And that conviction, held with persistence, will move everything necessary to bring your vision into physical form. This is not effort in the usual sense. It is an inner discipline, a willingness to remain loyal to your vision, no matter what the senses say. Eventually, this assumption becomes so natural, so familiar, that it feels like truth. And when something feels like truth internally, it must become fact externally. So remain faithful, persist in the assumption, not sometimes, all the time. Let your inner world declare boldly, "It is already mine," and soon the world will echo back, "Yes, it always was." The greatest misunderstanding people have about manifestation is this: they believe they must wait for signs before they believe their desire is possible. But in truth, signs follow, they do not precede. The external world does not give you permission to believe. Your belief gives rise to the external world. This is the reversal of how most people live. They wait to see the money in the bank before they feel wealthy. They wait for the opportunity to appear before they feel confident. They wait for success to arrive before they allow themselves to believe they are worthy of it. But this mindset traps them in a constant state of delay, because the world can only reflect back what you already believe to be true. Creation begins within. First comes the inner conviction, the deep calm knowing that your desire is already yours. Then and only then does the outer world begin to shift to match that inner state. The signs you seek are not prerequisites, they are results. They are confirmations that you have already moved into the state of the wish fulfilled. You must believe before there is proof. This is the essence of faith, not blind hope, but trust in the invisible process of creation. Faith is the ability to hold onto your vision, even when the world shows you its opposite. It's the quiet certainty that what you have accepted as real within must eventually become real without. The message you're reading now, this very moment, is one of those signs. You were led to this not by accident, but by alignment. Something within you has already accepted abundance as possible, and that internal shift is what drew this message into your awareness. You wouldn't even be here if something within you wasn't already awakening to the truth that millions are on their way. So don't wait for more proof. Don't delay your belief. Decide now, assume now, feel now. Live from the end result now. When you fully accept your desire as already fulfilled, signs will begin to appear, effortlessly and abundantly. They will feel like coincidences, synchronicities, divine nudges, but they are all reflections of your inner certainty. You don't manifest by looking for signs, you manifest by becoming the sign, and when you do, the world must follow. So let this moment mark the end of waiting and the beginning of knowing. The evidence comes after the belief, and the signs, they are already surrounding you, whispering the truth. Your millions are on their way. You are not here by chance. This message, this moment, is evidence that your inner world has already begun to shift. You've been reminded that you are the only operant power, that what you imagine, assume, and feel with conviction becomes your reality. You've seen that the unseen shapes the seen, that persistence in your assumption creates certainty, and that signs will follow your belief, never lead it. Now is not the time to wait, now is the time to live from the end. Feel the wealth now, walk in the fulfillment now. Let the world catch up to what you've already claimed within. Millions are not just coming, they are already in motion. And the only thing required is your steady, unwavering acceptance that they are yours. Be still, know it, feel it, and receive it. Sincerely thank you for listening, and remember, it is already done.
You will be a millionaire in just 2 months. Not by chance, not by luck, not by hard labor, but by a shift within your consciousness. There is no outer wealth without inner wealth first. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So begin today, not by chasing riches, but by becoming rich in your mind, in your emotions, in your assumptions. That is the secret the world overlooks. The great truth is this: everything begins in imagination. Your inner world is the cause, your outer world the effect. You have already done the work in many ways. You've prayed, you've hoped, you've wished. But now is the time to assume. Not tomorrow, not when the bank account changes, but now. You assume the state of the millionaire, and you walk in it like it's already yours. Feel the weight of wealth in your pocket. Hear the confirmation email of large deposits. Sense the atmosphere of abundance that surrounds you. Let the images rise, not with force, but with natural confidence. This is not pretending, it is spiritual law. What you imagine consistently with feeling and belief, you materialize. The world will tell you this is impossible. The facts may shout that you're broke, that you're in debt, that your time has not yet come. But let me tell you, facts are shadows. Your imagination is the light. You must not worship facts. You must not bow to circumstances. They are nothing more than reflections of past beliefs. And if you hold a new belief with conviction, the shadows must change. Your current situation is not your destiny. It's a mirror of the old self. But you are now awakening to the truth that you are the cause of your own reality. Speak differently. Say, I am a millionaire now. Say it not with desperation, but with authority. Say it not to convince the world, but to remind your own mind. Say it until the vibration of it feels more real than your current bank balance. Money must come. It must obey the law. It is not separate from you. It is not a thing to acquire. It is a state to enter. So enter it with boldness. Take your mind where your feet have not yet walked, and your feet will follow. Let the dream not be a someday event. Let it be a now event. How would you think today if you already had millions? Would you worry about bills? Would you doubt the future? Would you panic over timing? No, you would relax. You would rejoice. You would walk with confidence. So walk that way now. Let your actions follow your assumption. Dress like the wealthy version of you. Speak like the calm, certain, generous millionaire you are. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Money loves clarity. It flows where there is certainty. And you are becoming certain. You are moving into a new mental dwelling place. And this inner mansion will produce outer riches. Watch how people begin to treat you differently. Watch how new opportunities find you. Watch how your intuition sharpens and your timing becomes perfect. That's because the outer world is obeying the new signal you are sending. You are broadcasting wealth from within, and everything must rearrange to meet you there. Do not look to time for confirmation. Time is only a servant. 2 months is nothing to the one who believes. You will notice the signs quickly. A gift, a sudden opportunity, a new idea, a partnership, or a door opening where there was once only a wall. Stay with it. Persist in the knowing. Live as though it is already done, not by forcing or striving, but by being. Be it now. Feel it now. Rest in it now. Let others doubt you. Let the world call it delusion. But you will prove them all wrong by simply remaining faithful to your inner vision. In just 2 months, your life will not look the same. But that change began the moment you decided to live from the end. You are not waiting for millions. You are becoming the version of you who already has them. That version exists now. Live from it. Embody it. Let it become your truth. And so it must be. To assume the state of wealth now is to claim, in this very moment, the reality you desire is already accomplished. It is not a matter of waiting for evidence, for proof, or for any external validation. It is the profound inner decision to identify yourself with the version of you that already possesses the riches, the abundance, the financial freedom you seek. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. The world teaches you to strive and hustle and struggle toward a goal, always chasing, always delaying. But spiritual law says something radically different. It says that everything already exists, and that the moment you enter into the state of being that matches your desire, the external world must follow. It is not a maybe, not a hope, not a wish. It is law, immutable, unbreakable. What you are conscious of being, you become. So you must begin to ask yourself, not what do I want, but who am I now? Am I identifying as someone lacking, someone hoping, someone waiting for financial breakthrough? Or am I identifying as someone who already has, who already is, who already lives in the fullness of wealth and abundance? There is no one to convince, no battle to fight, no enemy to defeat. The only thing that must change is your own self-concept. Your consciousness is your only reality. To assume the state of wealth is to quietly, firmly, and faithfully occupy that inner state, regardless of appearances. This assumption is not about words alone. It is not empty affirmation or shallow repetition. It is the deep feeling of knowing. It is the mental stillness that says, it is done. It is the peace that comes not from seeing the money in your hand, but from seeing it in your imagination so vividly that it might as well be in your hand. When you assume wealth, you no longer pray for it as if it is distant. You thank the divine for it as if it is already yours. You wake up each day not asking, will it happen, but declaring, this is my new life. Many wait to feel rich until they have the evidence. They wait to feel joy until the account grows. They wait to feel secure until the world tells them it's okay to relax. But those who understand this deeper truth know that the evidence comes after the assumption, not before. They dare to feel it now, to believe it now, to walk in it now.
They know that faith is not merely believing in the invisible, it is living from it. To assume the state is to live from the end, to let the feeling of wealth be the foundation of your every thought and movement. Begin now. Take a moment to close your eyes and forget the world. Withdraw your attention from what your senses tell you. Imagine not as a fantasy, but as a truth more real than your current surroundings. What does it feel like to know you are financially free? What does it feel like to wake up without worry, to open your account and see overflow, to invest, to give freely, to enjoy without guilt? What does your home look like? What clothes do you wear? Who are you surrounded by? Move your awareness into that world and stay there. Dwell in that assumption until it becomes your natural state. This is not a one-time act. It is a way of being. You must return to this state again and again until it replaces the old self-image, until it becomes your faults, until it becomes your default vibration. And once it does, the outer world cannot help but conform. Because reality is not set, it is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, and responsive to the direction of your dominant inner state. If you assume wealth consistently, and if you refuse to fall back into doubt, the world must reorganize itself to reflect that state. It must bring the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. You will not chase, things will be drawn to you. You will not beg, your presence will command. To assume is to own. It is to possess inwardly what the world says you do not yet have. It is to reject the illusion of lack and replace it with the truth of abundance. It is to look at a zero balance and say, that is old data. It has nothing to do with the new me. It is to stop measuring your success by numbers and start measuring it by your alignment. It is to see through the veil of appearances and rest in the invisible substance that is more real than form. Once you assume wealth, your tone changes, your posture changes, your decisions shift. You no longer make choices based on fear, but on vision. You no longer react, you create. Assumption is the true beginning of transformation. Without it, you are just rearranging furniture in a house you don't want to live in. But when you assume, you change the house entirely. You rebuild the structure. You claim a new identity. You walk out of the prison of limitation and into the freedom of possibility. The world will not understand this. It may look at you and call you unrealistic, but that does not matter. You are not here to match the world's view. You are here to express your divine power. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator of circumstances. And that creation begins with assumption. This brings us to the second truth, that imagination is the true cause of everything. Not action alone, not effort, not circumstance, imagination. All things begin in mind. All realities exist first in the invisible. Nothing appears in your world without first being accepted in your imagination. If you would change your life, you must change the picture you consistently hold. You must guard your imagination as the sacred chamber of creation. You must fill it not with fear but with faith, not with past memories but with new visions. For what you imagine with feeling you give life to. You breathe existence into the unseen. The world is a mirror reflecting the movie of your imagination. Most people imagine disaster and wonder why life feels so difficult. They replay old failures, old betrayals, old debts, and so the outer world continues to echo those patterns. But the one who awakens understands this great power. They know that imagination is not idle, it is generative, it is causal, and so they begin to imagine deliberately. They stop worrying and start designing. They stop hoping and start embodying. They stop asking what if it doesn't happen, and start imagining what it feels like once it has happened. Your imagination is the portal to infinite reality. It does not cost anything to use, yet it is the most valuable asset you have. It is not limited by current facts, not bound by logic, not restrained by the past. In your imagination, you can be, do, and have anything. You can create scenes that defy the rules of the world. You can practice new emotions, try on new identities, rehearse new experiences. And what you continue to imagine, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you will see. So take control of your inner theater. Begin to rehearse wealth, success, and overflow. Let your imagination be saturated with images of luxury, freedom, generosity, and joy. Make it so normal that your subconscious accepts it as real. Because once your subconscious accepts an idea, it moves mountains to bring it to pass. It changes your behavior, aligns your timing, alters your decisions, and influences everyone around you. Your imagination plants the seed, and your subconscious grows the garden. Many will tell you to be realistic. But what is realism except prolonged imagination of limitation? Realism is not truth. It is agreement with what has already been manifested. But you are not here to live by what was. You are here to call forth what will be. And that calling begins in imagination. You must dare to imagine more than what the eyes can see. You must dare to feel more than what the body feels. You must let imagination lead, and trust that reality will follow. Practice this daily. In quiet moments, close your eyes and enter into the scene of your wish fulfilled. Let it play out in full color, full sound, full sensation. Don't just watch it, be in it. Hear the compliments, see the numbers, touch the luxury, breathe in the satisfaction. Let the scene loop until it feels more like memory than fantasy. Let your heart swell with gratitude as if it's already happened. That is the magic of imagination. It can make the invisible feel visible, and when that happens, the visible world must change. Imagination is the womb of reality. It is the seedbed of miracles. Use it wisely. Use it deliberately. Use it daily. You do not need to beg life for more. You only need to imagine more clearly. Once you see it within, you will see it without. Not by force, but by law. The world rearranges itself according to the picture you consistently carry. So carry wealth, carry freedom, carry confidence, carry certainty, and in due time the outer world will carry it right back to you, not in theory, not in dream, but in form, in fact, in fullness. To walk in the truth of wealth, you must learn to ignore the outer circumstances. That is not ignorance, it is mastery. The outer world, no matter how solid or convincing, is never the cause. It is always the echo of a previous state of mind. It is the printout of your inner assumptions. What you see around you now is simply old thought crystallized into form. It is the result of beliefs you once entertained, ideas you once nurtured, feelings you once repeated. And so if you want to change your world, you must not get caught up in reacting to what is already here. You must go back to the source, your consciousness. You must dare to look away from appearances and see only the truth that lives within you. The truth is that you are already rich in the unseen. You are already whole in the invisible. You are already powerful, already free, already abundant in the reality that matters most, the realm of imagination and consciousness. And when you refuse to be distracted by what your five senses report, when you turn your attention inward and hold to your assumption of wealth, the outer world must conform. It cannot do otherwise, because the external is not permanent. It is plastic, pliable, changeable. It is an obedient servant to the command of your inner world. There will be moments when your senses scream the opposite. There will be bills, debts, delays, and people who remind you of limitation. You may look at your bank account and feel a sinking sensation, but that is the very moment you must rise above the illusion. That is the very moment you declare, "This is not my truth. This is not who I am. I am not this number. I am not this temporary picture. I am who I have assumed myself to be. I am wealthy. I am provided for. I am deeply supported by divine law." And in that moment, when you make the choice not to react but to remember who you truly are, you begin to bend reality in your favor. This discipline is not denial. It is spiritual intelligence. It is refusing to give your power away to effects. It is standing in your cause position. When you react emotionally to the outer, you energize it, reinforce it, and repeat it. But when you see it for what it is, a passing image, a mirror of the past, you can rise above it. You can choose to revise it, ignore it, or reinterpret it through the lens of your new assumption. You are not here to live by reaction. You are here to live by creation. You are not here to wait on the world to change before you feel secure. You are here to feel secure now, and let the world follow. You do not beg circumstances to shift. You shift internally, and watch as the world has no choice but to comply. This is not theory, it is law. The law is always working. The only question is, are you using it deliberately or unconsciously? To ignore the outer is to keep your eyes on the inner. It is to walk by vision, not by sight. It is to choose the unseen over the seen, until the seen changes to match the vision. You will be tested. The old reality will tempt you to believe in it again, but you must hold firm. You must be so loyal to your new state that you refuse to collapse into the old story. That story is over. The evidence may still linger for a while, but it is no longer active. You have left that version of yourself behind. And now, all that matters is who you are being today, in this moment, in this thought, in this feeling. Speak to yourself like the one who has already won. Let your inner conversation reflect the wealth you've already accepted. Refuse to entertain doubt. Refuse to argue for your limitations. Speak only from your end. Feel only from the state of your desire fulfilled. When something happens that contradicts your vision, revise it in your mind. Reinterpret it as part of the unfolding, not a setback. Keep choosing your truth over your facts. Your truth is you are limitless, sourced by infinite supply, guided by divine intelligence. That truth has power to override any condition. Do not wait for permission from the world to feel rich. The world does not give you that permission. The spirit within does.
You do not need to be convinced. You do not need another sign, another confirmation, another green light from the world outside. The only permission you need is your own. You are the author, the creator, the source of your experience. Nothing happens outside of your consciousness. Nothing appears that has not first been imagined, felt, assumed. So stop waiting for proof and begin producing it from within. Every shift you desire begins with a choice, not a physical one, but a spiritual one. And once you choose in consciousness to become the one who has already received, life must respond in perfect rhythm. It is law. It is written into the very structure of reality itself. You are not violating natural order. You are aligning with the highest order there is. You have tried waiting. You have tried hoping. You have tried wishing and striving. But now you understand the deeper path. It is not about effort. It is about embodiment. It is about becoming so completely one with your desire that there is no separation, no gap, no longing, only oneness, only being, only identification. That is the mystery. That is the power. The world does not bend for the one who waits. It bends for the one who knows, the one who walks in the end even when the beginning looks barren. And so you rise, not because the world tells you to, but because you remember who you are. You remember that you are not the broke version. You are not the struggler, the anxious mind, the limited thinker. That was an old mask, an outdated self-image. And you now take it off and step forward in your true identity. One who has, one who knows, one who assumes from victory. The version of you who already has the millions isn't somewhere in the future. It is alive now, in you, as you, waiting to be embodied. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need applause or external validation. The millionaire self does not chase recognition. It radiates knowing. It moves through life with a quiet confidence, an inner assurance that cannot be shaken by delay or resistance. You may still feel the pull of the old self from time to time. You may still hear the whisper of doubt, but you don't listen. You don't entertain it. You acknowledge it and keep walking, because the one who has already received does not argue with illusions. They see through them. They walk on water, not by denying the storm, but by refusing to sink into it. You will notice how your inner tone changes when you no longer identify with lack. There is no neediness, no begging, no panic, just a calm authority, just a gentle but firm assumption that all is unfolding perfectly, because your inner world has already claimed the end. You are no longer reactive. You are responsive. You do not look at delays as signs of failure. You see them as illusions, remnants of old seeds that no longer match who you are, and so you pay them no mind. You focus forward. You focus inward. You focus on being. Each time you wake up and dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are rewriting your story. You are building new neurological patterns. You are reprogramming your identity. You are declaring to life, this is who I am now. And the universe listens. It always listens. Not to your words, not to your effort, but to your state. That is the prayer. That is the signal. That is the vibration that reshapes the mirror of your world. People may wonder what changed. They may see your outer life begin to shift and ask how you did it. And the answer will not be found in hustle or manipulation or chance. It will be found in the quiet moments when you refuse to give up on your vision, in the silent hours when you chose to feel wealth before you could see it, when you chose to live from the end and let go of the need to justify it to anyone. That is what bends reality. That is what collapses time. That is what invites the miraculous. You begin to move differently. You stop making decisions from fear. You stop engaging in conversations rooted in scarcity. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that no longer align with your vibration. You start saying no with confidence. You start saying yes to things that previously felt too big for you. You start walking into rooms like you belong, not because of your net worth, but because of your inner worth. And from that inner shift, all else changes. Doors open not because you knocked harder, but because you carried the key in your consciousness. People appear not because you searched for them, but because your frequency became magnetic to new relationships. Money flows not because you chased it, but because it was always trying to find you. You just had to become the version of yourself who could receive it. That is the mystery of alignment. That is the power of assumption. You do not fight for what is already yours. You claim it in silence and let the world follow. And when challenges come, and they will, you do not revert. You rise, you remember, you recalibrate. You say, this is a test of my persistence, not a sign to give up. You recommit to your state. You double down on your vision, because you know now what the old you didn't, that the outer world is only ever a report card of your previous consciousness. And if the results are not yet to your liking, you don't panic, you persist. This inner persistence is not exhausting, it is empowering. It is not rooted in striving, but in stillness. You do not try harder, you trust deeper. You trust the unseen more than you trust appearances. You trust the invisible currents of imagination more than the visible evidence of delay. And in that trust you are made unshakable. You stop waiting for signs to believe. You become the sign. You stop seeking evidence to feel secure. You become the evidence. Your vibration becomes louder than your circumstances. Your assumption becomes stronger than your facts. And eventually the world breaks under the weight of your unwavering belief and gives you exactly what you held within. Not as a reward, but as a reflection. You begin to give from overflow, not from obligation. You begin to share from wholeness, not from a desire to prove your worth. You begin to invest in yourself without guilt, because you know your abundance is rooted in spiritual law, not in fleeting trends. You stop shrinking to be palatable. You stop apologizing for your light. You walk in fullness. You move in truth. You radiate prosperity because it has become the only language you speak internally. Others may not understand it. They may question how you got here so fast. They may think you were lucky, or privileged, or simply in the right place at the right time. But you'll know the truth. You created the right time. You became the place. You aligned with the vibration of luck by choosing a new identity long before the world validated it. And that's the greatest miracle of all, when the inner transformation becomes so real that the outer transformation feels inevitable. You look back and realize that the money was never the real goal. The status, the possessions, the recognition, none of that was the true treasure. The true wealth was always the self that emerged from within. The clarity, the peace, the power, the freedom to no longer be ruled by fear or lack, the ability to walk in any room and feel whole, the knowing that no matter what happens outside, you will never again forget who you are inside. You hold the power to create, not because of talent or background or luck, but because of awareness. Because you now know that you don't wait for wealth, you express it. You don't chase the world, you call it. You don't beg life for change, you become the change, and life adjusts. This is the way of the awakened. This is the path of the one who lives from the end. Every desire you have is simply a glimpse of the version of you already living it. Every longing is a whisper from your higher self saying, come up here. This is where you belong. And now you say yes, not someday, not later,
Now, you step into the version of yourself who no longer needs to chase, convince, or doubt. You live from the end, and you do it with grace, with joy, with unshakable faith. You do not hope for change. You are the change. You do not wish for abundance. You are abundance. You do not wait for evidence. You become the evidence. And now as you persist in that truth, you will watch the world conform, not because you forced it, but because you became it first in the only place that matters, within. And when it is true within, it must become true without. That is the promise. That is the law. That is your power. You have already crossed the threshold. Even if your senses haven't caught up, your spirit has. The shift has taken place, and nothing needs to be done now, but to continue dwelling in this new identity, persistently, gently, faithfully. You no longer concern yourself with timing, with how or when the riches will show up. You know now that those are the distractions of the old self, the version of you that thought reality was outside in. But the new you has reversed that flow. The new you sees that life is inside out, that outer events are only shadows of your inner light. And if you keep your inner lamp lit with the feeling of wealth, the outer must show up as abundance in form. This is the path of the quiet millionaire. Not necessarily in bank figures at first, but in consciousness, a richness of thought, a wealth of self-belief, an opulence of imagination. The mind becomes a palace. The thoughts become tapestries of new creation. You no longer speak about lack because there is none in your kingdom. You no longer argue with what is, because your world is not built on the evidence of the senses, but on the evidence of the unseen. And that unseen realm, the imaginal act, is more stable, more powerful, more true than any temporary condition the five senses might report. So now you become more deliberate, more precise in what you allow yourself to feel, to dwell on, to see within. You recognize that each thought you entertain is a thread woven into the tapestry of your future, and so you choose carefully. You speak slowly. You declare with intention. You walk with the calm knowing of someone who no longer needs proof to believe, because belief has become your way of being. You wake up in the morning, and you don't ask what will happen today. You already know. Today your inner world will shape what you call your experience. Today your state will summon circumstances that mirror it. Today your assumption will move mountains. So you don't check your phone to measure your life. You check your state. You don't scroll for validation. You align in silence. And before the day begins, you've already claimed it as a day of overflow, of alignment, of favor. You don't need to see money in your hand to feel wealthy. You close your eyes and see it in your imagination, and that's more than enough. You sit in the stillness of your room, and you feel the weight of financial freedom in your body. The ease, the breath, the expansion. You imagine checking your accounts and seeing numbers that support the life you love. You imagine opportunities showing up unexpectedly, but not surprisingly, because when they come, you say, of course, I've already lived this moment 100 times in my mind. That's the secret to natural manifestation. It doesn't feel like a miracle when it arrives. It feels familiar, because you've made it so real within that the outer form is simply the final layer, the confirmation of something already finished. There's no shock, no celebration of disbelief, just quiet gratitude, just that gentle smile of someone who knows they are finally seeing with their eyes what they've long known in their soul. And you carry that feeling throughout your day, not perfectly, because perfection isn't the goal, alignment is. And when you fall out of state, when doubt tries to return, you don't panic, you don't spiral. You pause, you breathe, and you return. You remember who you are. You remember the truth that abundance is your nature, not your reward. That wealth is your identity, not your achievement. That the world can only reflect the song you're singing within. So you sing differently now. You speak differently now. You don't use words that shrink you, that cheapen your energy, that reinforce what you've already outgrown. You don't say, I can't afford that, because even if it's not a current choice, you know your source is unlimited. You say instead, that's not aligned with where I'm headed. You don't say, I'm trying to build wealth. You say, wealth is flowing to me in ways seen and unseen. You don't say, one day I'll be rich. You say, I am rich now in consciousness, and life is revealing it to me more and more each day. And when others around you speak of fear, of lack, of scarcity, you don't judge them, but you don't join them either. You bless them. You send them silent love, but you stay grounded in your state, because now you understand how contagious energy is and how precious your alignment has become. You protect it. You nurture it. You tend to your inner garden like a master gardener. You know which weeds to pluck, which thoughts to feed, which visions to water, and slowly your inner world becomes a landscape of endless abundance. You begin to notice the shifts, not just in money, but in everything. You speak and people listen. You walk into spaces and you're treated differently. Opportunities open that once felt distant. Conversations change tone. People who match your new vibration appear, and those who no longer align begin to drift. You don't chase, you don't force, you flow, and everything flows to you with an ease that feels holy, yet entirely natural. Because you are not working against the current, you are finally swimming with it, and yet you don't measure your progress by outer signs alone. That's the trick the mind loves to play, to dangle the carrot of proof and keep you chasing the physical. But now you're wiser. You measure progress by your state. How long can you hold the feeling of wealth without needing to see it? How deep can you live in the vibration of I have, in a world that screams you don't? How unwavering can your self-concept remain in the face of temporary contradiction? That's the mastery. That's the discipline. That's the real inner gold. You begin to love the process more than the proof, because you've come to understand that the proof always follows. It has no choice. So now you savor the inner world more than ever before. You light candles. You sit in quiet spaces. You journal from your future self. You write letters to yourself from the version of you who already has the mansion, the investments, the generational wealth. and you let that voice become louder than any doubt. That's how you rewire reality. Not by force, but by frequency. Not by convincing the world, but by convincing your subconscious. Because once your subconscious accepts a new identity, it executes on it without resistance. That's why the outer shifts so easily once the inner becomes firm. Because your subconscious is not testing reality, it is creating it. It does not need reasons, it only needs repetition and emotional certainty. And every day you persist, it rewrites your concept of self, until wealth becomes not just what you have, but who you are. You'll begin to notice that what once felt like effort now feels like flow. Decisions become easier. You know what's aligned and what's not. You don't need to question every move. Your internal GPS is clearer than ever. You follow nudges. You take inspired action, not to make something happen, but to walk in the footsteps of the version of you who has already arrived. You find yourself investing in yourself differently, not because you're trying to prove worth, but because you know you are worth. You buy the book, you join the program, you say yes to the trip, you pay the premium, not recklessly, not to posture, but because you've let go of survival thinking. You no longer make decisions from can I afford it, but from is this aligned with who I now am? And from that space, everything you invest in returns multiplied, because the vibration behind it is one of faith and identity, not fear. Even your posture changes. The way you enter rooms, the way you carry yourself through conversations. There's no more grasping, no more proving, no more seeking validation. You are, and that beingness, stable, relaxed, complete, speaks louder than any claim. You don't need to tell people who you are. They feel it, they respond to it, and life itself bows to it. You begin to laugh more, to breathe deeper, to rest in your body, because you're no longer running, no longer chasing, no longer measuring your value by productivity or results. You're living from fullness, from already having, from divine identity, and from that state, everything becomes more beautiful, more peaceful, more abundant, inside and out. And the beautiful irony is, as soon as you stop needing the millions to feel whole, the millions find their way to you with less resistance, because wealth no longer owns you. You've embodied it. You've proven to yourself and to the laws of consciousness that you can hold wealth without being consumed by it, that you can expand without contracting, that you can rise without falling back into the old patterns. The old self might still knock on the door sometimes. The thoughts of what if it doesn't work, or what if this is too good to be true, might try to creep in, but you don't answer that door anymore. You know that voice. You've outgrown it. You've walked beyond it. And now you look at that voice with compassion, not fear. You say, I remember when I thought like that, but I no longer live in that house. You live now in the house of faith, in the house of wealth, in the house built not by hands but by consciousness. And from that place you do not ask for abundance, you emanate it. You do not plead for miracles, you expect them. You do not watch the clock, you live in timelessness. Because the one who already has is not counting minutes, they are counting blessings. And in that vibration, you discover that the real gift was never just the money. It was who you became, the unshakable version, the calm version, the faithful version, the version of you who no longer needs to see it to believe it, because belief itself is now your default state. You live by inner vision, and life obeys your script, not because you begged, but because you knew. The world bends quietly for the one who has decided, not for the one who tries, or wishes, or begs, but for the one who knows, the one who has assumed the end so completely that no outer fact can move them. This kind of knowing does not make noise. It does not shout for attention. It does not debate its truth. It simply walks with a stillness that speaks louder than words. And that stillness is not weakness. It is the highest form of power, but power rooted in identity, not in effort, in alignment, not in performance. When you truly know that you are already the one who has, you no longer ask how. The question becomes irrelevant. The details become background music to the melody of your being. You have already become the one with the wealth. The rest is just choreography. The how unfolds not because you need to know it, but because your state summons it. The millionaire self doesn't need to map every move. They operate from intuition, from clarity, from inner direction. And when you stand in that state, your next step shows up right on time. You no longer grasp. You no longer cling. There is no rush. You are not behind. You are not late. You are simply living in a rhythm that begins and ends in you. You know now that delay is not denial. It is often grace, giving your outer world time to catch up with your new vibration. So you don't panic. You rest. You don't retract. You reaffirm. You don't doubt the path. You deepen your walk on it. You wake up in the middle of the night, and you no longer reach for worry. You reach inward for truth. You remind yourself that money is not something you need to chase down. It is something you allow in. That wealth is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It is within, waiting to be felt. That the moment you truly become the one who has, reality must reorganize around that vibration. That is the law. And the law does not lie. You understand now that it's not about making things happen. It's about making things welcome. Your job is not to force the seed to grow. Your job is to believe that the harvest is inevitable. To water it daily with assumption. To sit in the feeling of fulfillment so deeply that you stop checking for results. You don't ask, is it working? Because you are no longer measuring progress by appearances. You are measuring it by peace. And peace is the evidence of alignment. You find yourself giving thanks in advance, not out of ritual but from realization. You close your eyes and you say thank you for the money that is already mine. Thank you for the abundance already flowing to me. Thank you for the freedom, the expansion, the overflow that I now live in. You don't wait to be grateful. You use gratitude as the atmosphere you breathe in. And the universe, hearing that gratitude, answers you in kind. You don't need to be seen. You don't need applause. You don't need everyone to understand your path.
Because you now know what matters is not how they see you, but how you see yourself. What matters is not how many follow your journey, but how faithfully you follow your own inner conviction. And from that place of rootedness you begin to move with such power that people can't help but feel the shift even if they can't explain it. You no longer argue with the mirror. You don't ask the reflection to smile before you do. You smile first, you embody first, you declare first, you align first. Because you are not a servant of the outer world, you are its cause. You are not reacting to what is, you are remembering who you are and watching what has changed to match it. When challenges come, and they will, you no longer collapse. You use them. You say, here is an opportunity to practice holding my new state. Here is a moment to stand as the one who has, even when it seems like I don't. Here is the gift disguised as contradiction. And in that moment you don't resist. You rise. You don't react. You return to the end. You feel the money again. You see the life again. You wear the crown again. And the test passes because you have. You begin to live in multiple dimensions at once. There is the outer life, full of bills and conversations and deadlines. And there is the inner life, rich with certainty and vision and fulfillment. And you learn to live more from the inner, because you know it's the only one that ever mattered. You train yourself to walk through physical rooms while seated on your inner throne. You look at your current surroundings and instead of being fooled, you smile. Because you've already seen what's coming, and it is glorious. You no longer make decisions from desperation. You make them from dominion. You no longer ask, what can I afford? You ask what aligns with the self I now embody. You no longer wonder what's realistic. You ask what is true to the version of me who already has what I desire. And then you move accordingly, not in rebellion but in reverence for the new reality you're now stabilizing within. This version of you doesn't live on edge. They don't chase clients, they don't hustle for scraps. They radiate such inner confidence that people and opportunities are magnetized to them. They walk into meetings with the energy of someone who brings value, not someone hoping to be noticed. They make offers not to be approved but to serve, and because they know their value the world responds accordingly. This is the shift that changes everything, not doing more, but being different. Not asking for permission but granting it to yourself. Not seeking wealth as an object but realizing you are the source that wealth flows through. You are not becoming rich. You are remembering that you already are. And from that remembering you live. Not performatively. Not in an act of false confidence. But in quiet congruence. You stop talking about manifestation and you start embodying it. You stop needing to convince others because your presence becomes the proof. You walk through life as if the miracle already happened. Because within it did. And the outer has no choice but to mirror it in time. You begin to take up space without guilt. You ask for what you want without shrinking. You stop justifying your dreams to people who never had the courage to choose their own. You forgive your past not because it deserves it, but because you no longer identify with it. You release the story of struggle, not because it wasn't real, but because it is no longer relevant. You're not fixing yourself anymore. You're stepping into yourself. You're not healing from life. You're dissolving the illusion that it ever defined you. You no longer beg life to love you. You realize it always did. You were just not yet loving yourself at the level that allowed you to receive it fully. And now you do. You receive it fully. You receive the clients, the cash flow, the contracts, the creative ideas. You receive the respect, the recognition, the rest. You receive not because you earned it through effort, but because you aligned with it through identity. You host it in your consciousness. You welcome wealth like a familiar friend. You open the door wide. You sit up when it's testing you. There is no awkwardness, no fear of losing it, no impulse to sabotage it. Because you now know you can trick the universe into giving it to you. You become the version of you who naturally lives in this overflow. You hold the manager with grace. You let the money serve you, not rule you. You invest wisely. You give generously. You steward what you've attracted with the same elegance that brought it into your life. And it continues to grow, not just because of strategy, but because of state. Because abundance is now who you are, not just what you have. There is no arrival point. There is only deeper embodiment, more mastery, more refinement of your self-concept, more clarity of your ascension. You don't arrive at wealth, you expand in it. You spiral upward, you live in layers of light truth, both visible and invisible. Because wealth is not just in your bank account, it's in your breath, your energy, your stillness, your knowing. You don't chase anymore, you attract. You don't doubt anymore, you trust. You don't contract anymore, you expand. And every time you feel the temptation to go back to the old ways, the old fears, the old scripts, you pause, you smile, you say that's not me anymore. And just like that you reclaim your throne again. You are no longer seeking the million. You are living as the one who already has it. You are no longer hoping for breakthroughs. You are walking as the breakthrough. You are no longer asking for evidence. You are becoming it.
There is an invisible current of life that moves beneath all things seen. Money too, though it appears material, is governed not by the hands of man, but by laws unseen and eternal. These laws do not change with governments or banknotes. They are spiritual, fixed, and impartial. To the one who understands these hidden spiritual laws, money ceases to be a struggle and becomes a flow, an effortless outpouring of supply in divine order. If you are to master money, you must first master the law behind it. The first spiritual law is the law of mental equivalence. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are in consciousness. If you see lack, believe in lack, and speak of lack, then you must receive lack. The outer world mirrors your inner state with precision. If you would draw money to you, you must first become wealthy in your thoughts, your words, and your feelings. You must see yourself surrounded by abundance, living in ease and trusting that all needs are met before a single coin appears. The image in your mind is the mold into which substance flows. The second spiritual law is the law of praise. What you praise increases. When you bless your money, however little it may seem, you multiply it. But when you criticize it, fear it, or curse it, you drive it away. Gratitude opens the floodgates of increase. Every time you pay a bill, give thanks that you had the means to pay it. Every time money comes to you, say aloud, "This is divine substance made visible, and I praise it." Speak to your money as if it hears you, because it does. Money is energy, and energy responds to vibration. Praise raises your vibration and draws increase to you. The third spiritual law is the law of non-resistance. What you resist, persists. When you fear debt, resist bills, or resent another's wealth, you bind yourself in limitation. But when you bless the seeming delay, accept the present moment, and surrender the outcome, you invite divine adjustment. Do not fight appearances. Appearances are only pictures, and pictures can change. Say instead, every negative situation is now dissolved in divine mind. The perfect solution is already here. In your calm and trust, money flows where it once froze. The fourth law is the law of circulation. Money is meant to flow like a river, not sit stagnant like a blocked stream. When you hoard out of fear, you tell the universe you do not trust its supply. But when you give in faith, with joy and without expectation, you open the channel for return. You must give to live. Whatever you withhold is withheld from you. Whether you give a coin, a compliment, or your time, you are planting seeds, and every seed gives back multiplied. Give freely and joyfully, and the universe will match your generosity with increase in unexpected ways. The fifth law is the law of divine timing. Many chase money with anxious effort and restless action, never realizing that timing belongs to spirit, not man. When the soil is ready, the harvest appears. You must not try to force the doors open, you must align with the door that is already yours. Trust that what is yours will find you. Speak the word of success, then let go. The divine plan is never late and never early, it is always right on time. Delay is not denial, it is preparation. Your wealth may be just around the corner, waiting for you to trust the process. The sixth spiritual law is the law of spoken word. Words are not empty sounds. They are carriers of power. What you speak becomes law unto your own life. If you say, "I can't afford it," you cast a vote for poverty. If you say, "Money comes to me from expected and unexpected sources," you call forth that very result. Every word you speak writes the script of your financial future. Speak only what you wish to see. Deny appearances that contradict your desire, and affirm truth in their place. Say, "I am one with unlimited substance, and it flows to me in perfect ways." Say it, believe it, and it must appear. The seventh law is the law of identity. You must know who you are in spirit. You are not a beggar pleading for a blessing. You are the heir of divine supply. You are not separated from wealth. You are one with the source of all wealth. When you align your identity with abundance, you no longer chase money, you attract it. You no longer fear loss, for you know substance can never be destroyed, only redirected. Know this, you are the creator of your financial world. Your belief becomes your experience. Step into your spiritual authority and declare, "I am rich now by divine right, and all the forces of heaven move to fulfill my word." These laws do not fail. The only failure lies in our forgetfulness of them. But when you align your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your identity with the truth of spiritual substance, then no power on earth can withhold your good. Money becomes a servant, not a master, and flows to you with ease, under grace in perfect ways. When the soul understands that it is never separated from its supply, fear dissolves like morning mist before the rising sun. You cannot be separated from money, because you cannot be separated from the divine mind that created it. Substance is spiritual first. It only takes the form of coins, paper, or digital numbers to accommodate your belief in material symbols. But the true supply is invisible, unlimited, and ever present. When you know this, your need ends. You cease begging and start commanding. You cease worrying and begin receiving. Most people live in chronic fear about money, not realizing that fear itself is the only real poverty. They speak of recessions, debt, rising prices, and lack, reinforcing those pictures in their subconscious mind. They form thought patterns that choke the natural flow of abundance. But you are not called to live by the economy of man, you live by divine economy. In that economy there is no shortage, no inflation, no crash, no despair. Only flow, only sufficiency, only peace. When you align your thoughts with this higher economy, the material world bows to your authority. Money is not your master, it is your servant. It is here to do your bidding, but you must give it a clear instruction. Most people give confused orders. I want money. I don't have enough. What if it runs out? The universe receives those mixed signals and sends back what you asked for: confusion, delay, and more want. But when your word is clear, your faith unwavering, and your imagination vivid, money has no choice but to obey. You must see money not as an enemy or mystery, but as a willing partner, ready to go where it is welcomed, blessed, and appreciated. Imagination is the workshop of creation. If you want more money, do not look to your job, your client list, or your bank account. Look to your imagination. Your inner picture is your prophecy. When you visualize yourself prosperous, not with anxiety but with joy, you plant the seeds of wealth. See yourself paying for what you desire with ease. See the numbers in your account rising. Hear yourself giving generously. Feel the relief and freedom of a life fully supported. Do this consistently, and the outer world must conform to the image held within. Your world is an echo of your mind. Another secret that few grasp is this: money comes through channels but not from them. Your job is not your source. Your customers are not your source. The stock market is not your source. These are merely channels, vessels through which divine substance flows. If one dries up, another opens, but the source never dries. Trust not in the channel, trust in the origin. Say, divine substance flows through infinite channels to meet all my needs. Then release all dependence on one form or one method. Stay open. The universe is infinitely creative. What you need can arrive in ways you never imagined. Often people block their own supply by believing they must struggle for it. They carry old beliefs learned from childhood, religion, or society, that money is evil, hard to get, or only comes with toil. But these beliefs are chains. You cannot draw to you what you secretly resent or feel unworthy of. You must cleanse your consciousness. Say, money is good, it is divine energy in circulation. I love money, and money loves me. I am worthy of every dollar I receive. Let go of guilt, let go of shame. Wealth is your divine birthright, not for vanity, but for purpose, joy, and freedom. When you fear loss, you invite it. When you clutch your money, you block the current. But when you live in faith, you release the need to control and allow Spirit to orchestrate your supply. Sometimes you will be led to give when it feels uncomfortable. Obey the nudge. You may be guided to invest in yourself, take a risk, or walk away from something familiar. Follow the inner voice. Your intuition knows the path of least resistance. Divine order goes before you, arranging all things for your good. What looks like a loss may be the doorway to greater increase. Every financial test is an invitation to grow your faith. When it seems like the supply is delayed, you are not being punished. You are being strengthened. Your roots are growing deeper. Your trust is expanding. You are being prepared for a harvest beyond what your present self can carry. Do not pray from panic, pray from power. Say, though I see no sign, I know my supply is at hand. Though the bank account is low, I affirm that money is now appearing in perfect ways. Speak this until you feel it. Speak it until the fear dissolves. The moment your inner atmosphere shifts, the outer must follow. Money also responds to order. A confused life repels prosperity. A clear and orderly environment welcomes it. If you cannot manage what you already have, the universe withholds more, not out of punishment, but out of love. Begin where you are. Clean your wallet, organize your finances. Write down what you receive and spend. Bless every transaction, make room for more. When you show that you can honor what is in your hand, more will be placed into it. Order is the language of wealth. Be cautious of comparison. Looking at another's abundance with jealousy creates spiritual static in your field. Celebrate their success as proof that abundance exists. Say, what God has done for them, He now does for me. Envy closes your hands, but gratitude opens them. Know that your journey is uniquely yours. You do not need to chase what belongs to another. Your wealth is waiting for your recognition, not your effort. There is more than enough for all. The universe is not short on supply. It only waits on your belief. Do not shrink from charging what you are worth or receiving what you deserve. Money does not diminish your spirituality, it reflects it. Your value is not in your price tag, but in your awareness. Know that every exchange is sacred. When you provide service or create beauty, you are part of the divine circulation of good. Allow yourself to receive with joy. Say, it is right for me to prosper. I bless those who bless me. And so you continue the cycle of giving and receiving without guilt or fear. Money is an obedient servant, never a cruel master. It is attracted to clarity, joy, order, gratitude, and faith. If you chase it, it eludes you. But if you align with its laws, it runs to you. Your only work is inner. Outer wealth is the shadow of inner wealth. Stop focusing on what you see and tune into what you know. Declare daily that you live in an abundant universe, that money is your friend, that you are worthy of overflow, that your needs are always met, sometimes before you even ask. These declarations shift your vibration, and your vibration governs what you receive. Every coin is a thought clothed in form. Every dollar is an answered belief. Do not fight for money, flow with it. It is already yours in spirit. Call it forth with boldness. Act as if it is done. Walk as if you are supported. Give as if you are overflowing. Live as if you are backed by the entire power of creation. For you are. And once your soul fully accepts this truth, money will no longer be a mystery, but a manifestation of your divine consciousness. There is no limit in spirit. The only limits are those set by your belief. If you say, this is too much, or that could never happen for me, then you draw a circle around your own supply and say to the universe, only this far, then no more. But divine law knows no such boundaries. It does not measure your good by your education, your background, your job title, or your bank history. It measures only by your faith, your expectation, and your willingness to receive. The open hand receives. The closed hand cannot. People often wonder why they pray and see no result. It is not the prayer alone that brings the supply. It is the feeling behind it. If you pray with fear, you are calling more fear to you. If you pray with desperation, you are affirming lack. But when you pray with thanksgiving, with certainty, with the quiet power of inner knowing, then the answer comes quickly, and often in the most unexpected ways. The divine does not operate by human logic. It bypasses the expected path and creates roads where there were none. One act of surrender can do more than years of effort. Every desire is a divine idea seeking expression. If you desire wealth, not from greed or ego, but from a true place of freedom, impact, and peace, then know that the desire itself is evidence that it already exists for you in the invisible realm. You do not desire what you cannot have. Spirit is not cruel. It does not tempt. It promises. And every promise of the divine is already fulfilled in the unseen. You must walk as though it is already yours. Speak not of needing it. Speak as though it has already arrived. For the Lord does not give according to your need. It gives according to your faith. What you forgive, you free. And what you resent, you bind to yourself. If you carry bitterness towards someone who wronged you financially, or who has more than you, or who denied you in the past, you are tying your supply to that resentment. Release them. Bless them. Say, they are free, and so am I. Their good does not limit mine. There is plenty for us all. When you forgive, you cut the cord of delay and allow your own flow to resume. Unforgiveness blocks the river of supply. Forgiveness opens the floodgates wide. Your true wealth is measured not by the numbers in your account, but by your state of consciousness. There are those with millions who live in fear, who hoard, who panic at the idea of loss, and so they are poor in spirit. And there are those with little who trust, who give, who smile, and so they are rich already. But the one who combines spiritual wealth with material wealth, who understands the laws and lives them daily, becomes a light in the world, showing others what is possible. You are meant to prosper, not for pride or status, but to be a demonstration of divine principle made visible. Money does not come from hustle alone. It comes from harmony. You must harmonize your mind, your body, your spirit, and your word with the truth of supply. You may work 10 jobs, but if your consciousness is filled with fear and lack, the money will escape you like water through your hands. But one aligned thought, one powerful declaration, one moment of inspired action can shift your whole financial story. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you. You do not have to chase what you already possess in the spirit realm. There are those who see money as something to grab and fight for. But divine money comes not through force, but through alignment. The more you struggle, the more you push it away. But when you get still, when you listen to the whispers of spirit, when you act with confidence in divine timing, things begin to unfold. You meet the right person. You get the inspired idea. The opportunity knocks. What was once blocked begins to move. It is not because you worked harder, it is because you believe deeper. Declare every morning that you live in a wealthy universe. Say, money flows to me easily and freely. I am a magnet for divine supply. I do not chase, I attract. I do not worry, I trust. I do not grasp, I receive. Speak these words until they are etched into your soul. Let no word of limitation cross your lips. Let no complaint dwell in your mouth. Train your tongue to speak only that which you desire to see. Words are the carriers of substance. When you speak with faith, you stir the invisible into form. You do not have to earn your supply, you must align with it. It is not about deserving, it is about knowing. The sun does not decide who to shine on. It shines on all. The rain does not choose who to nourish. It falls where it is open. So it is with money. It flows where there is no resistance. It pours where there is faith. It stays where there is praise. You do not need to convince God to bless you. Blessing is the very nature of spirit. You must only remove the veil of doubt that blocks it. Sometimes, the biggest shift in wealth comes not from a new opportunity, but from a new decision. A decision to believe in yourself. A decision to stop waiting and start declaring. A decision to leave behind the old beliefs that kept you small. What you believe about yourself determines what you allow. If you see yourself as poor, unworthy, forgotten, you shut the door to abundance. But if you see yourself as favored, supported, chosen, you fling that door open wide. The universe cannot give you what you refuse to become. There is always enough. That is the eternal truth. Scarcity is a lie built by fear. The earth is abundant. The universe is expanding. Life is always growing. There is enough wealth, enough opportunity, enough success, enough money for you and for everyone else. You must decide that there is no competition in spirit. What is yours, and what belongs to another cannot be taken from you. Do not fear another's gain. It does not reduce your portion. You are not in a race. You are in a flow. Money is not just about paying bills or buying things. It is about expression. It is about freedom. It is about choosing what aligns with your soul without fear. It is about saying yes to life. When you are in lack, your energy contracts. But when you are in abundance, your energy expands, and you become a blessing to others. That is why you must prosper, not for ego, but for purpose. Not for vanity, but for vision. The more you have, the more you can give. And giving from overflow is a sacred act. As you go about your day, begin to treat money as sacred. Handle it with love. Don't crumple it or speak negatively of it. When you pay, do so with joy. When you receive, do so with gratitude. This reverence creates a vibration that draws more to you. Money is not to be feared, hated, or ignored. It is to be understood, welcomed, and mastered. When you become a conscious steward of your money, you step into your spiritual authority. Every thought you think about money sends a signal into the field. Every emotion becomes a magnet. Every choice becomes a prayer. When your inner world is one of trust, joy, generosity, and order, the outer world aligns to reflect that back to you. And when the test comes, when the appearance of lack tries to speak louder than the promise of supply, you must stand firm. You must speak the truth louder. Say, Though I walk through the valley of seeming lack, I fear no evil. My cup overflows. My supply is here, and I receive it now. Let your life become a living testimony of divine abundance. Let your words shape your wealth. Let your faith break every limitation. Let your giving become a sacred ritual. Let your imagination build bridges where there were walls. You are not here to struggle. You are here to rise. And every dollar that comes into your life is a reflection of the love and power already alive within you. You need not beg for what is already yours. You need only believe it, declare it, feel it, and receive it. There is no condition in the outer world that can stand against the truth of the inner word. The Lord does not answer to the senses, it answers to faith. When you see with the eyes of spirit, you see beyond the current situation. You might look at an empty wallet, an overdue bill, or a failing business, and still declare this is only temporary. The truth is, I am rich now, and my supply is unfolding perfectly. This declaration, held with conviction, is more powerful than all the facts and figures of man. For what you decree in the invisible must manifest in the visible by law. You are not here to repeat what others have done. You are here to reveal what only you can bring into form. Your path to wealth will be different from anyone else's. Do not compare. Do not try to copy. Go inward. Seek the divine blueprint within. Ask, what is the highest expression of my talents? How can I serve in a way that opens the floodgates of abundance? The answer may not come through logic. It may come as a whisper, a nudge, a sudden idea. Follow it. The universe speaks in gentle impressions, not shouts. But once obeyed, those whispers lead to rivers of gold. If ever you feel that your progress is slow, know that growth is happening beneath the surface. Just as the seed breaks open underground before the sprout is seen, so must your inner transformation precede your outer results. Keep working on your belief, your vision, your self-image. Keep clearing the doubts, the fears, the old programming. Every affirmation you speak, every vision you hold, every act of trust you take is watering your harvest. The delay is not denial, it is construction. Your wealth is being built in the unseen, and soon it shall burst forth with undeniable evidence. Begin to walk through your life as one who already has it. If wealth were yours now, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? Act that way now, not to pretend, but to create alignment. Action solidifies belief. When you act rich in consciousness, the outer world begins to respond. You are never waiting on the world to change. You are waiting on your own certainty to become unshakable. The moment you no longer waver, the floodgates open. If you live by what you see, you will be moved by every turn of events. But if you live by spiritual law, you will walk in peace even in the midst of drought. The one who understands truth can look at a downturn and say, this is only a shadow, it has no substance. My source is untouched, my supply is secure, and so it is. The truth always overrides appearances. And what is the truth? That all your needs are met now, that your good is already prepared, that your wealth exists in the eternal present and awaits your recognition. There is no such thing as too late. The mind may say, I'm behind, I've wasted years, I missed my chance. But spirit knows only now. The past is powerless unless you continue to repeat its story. Let it go. Begin again, not from scratch, but from wisdom. Declare, now is my time. The years the locusts have eaten are restored. My latter shall be greater than my former. I am in divine timing now. Speak it, feel it, believe it, and you will be lifted into a new chapter where the former limitations cannot follow. Your words are tools, and every day you are building something. The question is, what are you building? Are you constructing lack with statements like, it's too hard, I never have enough, money doesn't stick around? Or are you building a mansion of abundance with declarations such as, everything I touch prospers, I attract money like a magnet, I am the expression of wealth itself? Use your words as the architects of your reality. Refuse to speak what you do not want. Refuse to agree with limitation. Speak truth until it becomes your atmosphere. Many sabotage their own good by living in doubt. They affirm abundance one day and sink into fear the next. This double-mindedness creates static in the field. The Lord does not respond to begging, it responds to unwavering belief. Even when nothing appears to be happening, your faith must not flinch. Say, I know more is unfolding than I can see. I trust in what is working behind the scenes. I walk by divine knowing, not by physical sight. Hold that tone consistently, and the invisible must become visible. The law is faithful. It does not forget. There are seasons of preparation and seasons of manifestation. Do not curse the season you are in. If things feel still, silent, slow, rejoice. For the soil is being tilled. Your roots are being deepened. You are being positioned for lasting increase, not fleeting gain. Trust the pace of your journey. Others may appear to move faster, but remember, what comes quickly often fades quickly. But what is built with spiritual law endures. Say, I am building on the rock, not on the sand. My wealth is secure, my increase inevitable, my foundation unshakable. You may be guided to do something unfamiliar. Take a course, launch a business, raise your prices, move to a new place, speak boldly about your work. Do not shrink back. The divine will never guide you into failure. Fear may try to speak loudly, but faith must speak louder. Say, if I was not ready, I would not be guided. My steps are ordered. My path is prepared. When you move in obedience to intuition, doors open. The provision is always tied to the instruction. And when you obey, you unlock a supply far greater than what effort alone could bring. Train your subconscious to expect wealth. Before you sleep, see money flowing to you. Wake up and say, I am a receiver of divine riches. Today wealth finds me. Let these thoughts soak into your deeper mind. For it is not what you do once, but what you habitually believe that sets the course of your life. Wealth is a state of mind long before it is a balance in your account. Think rich, feel rich, believe rich, and eventually the outer must match the inner. The universe cannot resist the vibration of consistency. Even when others doubt you, stand firm. Your wealth is not up for public opinion. You do not need others to believe in your vision. Only you do. Often your increase will be invisible at first. You will grow inwardly before the results are outward. Be at peace with being misunderstood for a time. Those who once doubted will soon witness the manifestation. And when they ask how it happened, you will not say, I worked harder. You will say, I believed deeper. I followed the laws. I aligned with divine supply. No prayer goes unheard. No declaration returns void. No act of faith is wasted. Everything you are doing now, the speaking, the giving, the trusting, the visualizing, is shaping a reality that will soon unfold before you. You are never alone in your journey to wealth. All of heaven supports the soul that chooses to walk by spiritual law. The forces of increase, favor, grace, and multiplication are always working with you. Even now, right where you are, the supply is being arranged. The channels are being prepared. The perfect people, places, and opportunities are being aligned. Not because you fought for them, but because you became ready to receive. So continue on. Speak truth in the silence. Give even when it stretches you. Visualize even when the scene looks bleak. Trust even when doubt taps at the door. You are not hoping for a miracle. You are becoming one. And when it all appears, when the money flows, when the debt is erased, when the dream becomes real, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile and say, of course, this is who I've always been. This is what I believed all along. For money is not just paper. It is proof. Proof that spirit is faithful. Proof that law never fails. Proof that you too are powerful beyond measure. There is a stillness within you that already holds the answer. Beneath the questions, beyond the striving, beyond the noise of the world and the pressure to perform, there exists a quiet knowing. This knowing does not worry, it does not rush, it does not fear. It simply is. And within that stillness lies the truth that your provision is secure, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are one with the very essence of abundance itself. You are not separate from it. You do not chase it. You are it. This is the greatest illusion to dissolve. That money is outside of you, far from your reach, held behind gates of luck or privilege or circumstance. Money is not something you must beg for, trick, or chase. It is an extension of the energy you already carry. It responds to your vibration, your imagination, your spoken word, and your inner sense of worthiness. That which you seek is seeking you, but you must remove the barriers within yourself that block its approach. You must unclench the fists of fear, unlock the prison of doubt, and open the hands of faith, for money flows where it is welcomed. Do not confuse movement with alignment. Many people run tirelessly, working long hours, pursuing opportunity after opportunity, only to find themselves empty, exhausted, and still in lack. But when you are aligned with divine law, even a single step made in faith, ordered by intuition, supported by a calm mind, can bring more abundance than 1,000 frantic actions. Your energy is your currency. Your peace is your power. Your alignment is your strategy. There is no substitute for the inner work. You must become what you wish to attract. You cannot trick the law. You cannot pretend wealth. You must embody it. Your energy speaks louder than your words. You may say all the right affirmations, but if beneath those words lives fear, anxiety, guilt, or shame around money, then that is what the law must answer. So go deeper. Heal the root. Ask yourself, what do I truly believe about money? Do I believe it's hard to get? Do I believe it makes people greedy? Do I feel guilty when I have more than others? These are weeds in your garden. Pull them out with truth. Replace them with declarations that align with abundance. Say, I am a faithful steward of wealth. Money in my hands blesses all. I have more than enough, and I give from overflow. You were not sent here to scrape by. You were not placed on this earth to just survive. You were not born to struggle while others thrive. These are lies of the world, born of fear, taught by systems that profit from your smallness. But divine law says something different. It says you were created to flourish, that all things are yours by inheritance, that you are not meant to compete but to create, that lack is unnatural and that abundance is your home. So return to your home, not by running but by remembering. Return by awakening. The truth has never left, it only waited for your agreement. Every day is an opportunity to agree with wealth, not just in thought, but in behavior. When you pay, pay with peace. When you give, give with gladness. When you receive, receive with honor. When you think of your future, think with certainty. When you look at your life, look with expectation. The law responds to what you prepare for. If you act as though increase is on the way, it must arrive. If you prepare your storehouses, they must be filled. If you expect only just enough, then overflow cannot come. But if you say, I am ready for more than enough, then heaven moves to match your expectation. Bless your past, even if it was full of struggle. For every tight season, every unpaid bill, every door that closed without warning, was preparing you to master a new law, to rise to a higher level, to unlearn dependency and relearn dominion. Nothing was wasted. What you thought was lost was foundation. What you feared would break you actually remade you. And now you stand on the edge of increase, not as a victim begging for help, but as a creator claiming what is already yours. The pain shaped your awareness. The delay refined your clarity. And now your good is ready. Let others live by the world's rules if they choose. But you live by spiritual law. You do not say, if the economy is good, then I will be good. You say, I live under a heavenly economy. My source is spirit. My income is not from man, but through man. You do not say, if I get the promotion, I'll have enough. You say, I already have enough, and more is on the way through perfect channels under grace. You do not shrink when faced with an unexpected bill. You bless it. You do not panic when one door closes. You praise. You know that nothing can block what Spirit has appointed for you. The world will try to teach you fear. It will parade problems, predict lack, and worship worry. But you must choose a different station. Tune your inner ear to truth. And what is the truth? That you are the offspring of divine mind, created with intention, equipped with power, and surrounded by provision. That you lack nothing. That you were not born to live in fear of numbers. That no financial condition defines your worth. That supply is not fragile, but endless. That your prosperity blesses the world. That you can rise regardless of where you started. That your money is a mirror of your belief, and belief can change in an instant. Do not wait for permission to prosper. Do not wait for proof to believe. Believe first, and the proof must appear. This is the law. You do not wait for the sun to warm your face before you believe it will rise. You believe, and then you see. You do not wait for the fruit to appear before you plant the seed. You sow in faith. You water with expectation. You wait with peace. And then one day the harvest arrives, and it was never a surprise, because you always knew it would come. Let money flow where it wishes to go. Do not try to grasp it too tightly. Hold it with honor, but do not idolize it. Remember, money is not the goal. It is the byproduct of a mind aligned with truth. It is the echo of obedience, the reward of faith, the reflection of divine order. It is never the master. It is always the servant. And a wise servant is kept close, honored, and directed with clarity, but never worshipped, never feared. For that would be to hand your power away to a symbol, and you are no servant of symbols, you are the steward of substance. Every day, declare your independence from limitation. Say, I no longer live under the curse of not enough. I am no longer impressed by what I do not see. I am governed by law, and that law is abundance. I do not compete. I do not chase. I do not shrink. I expand. I rest. I trust. I create. Let that be your daily prayer. Not a desperate cry for help, but a calm declaration of knowing. For it is not neediness that draws supply. It is certainty. It is not anxiety that moves mountains. It is authority. And you, blessed soul, have more authority than you've ever realized. There are no accidents in this life. The very fact that these words reach you now is a sign that your season of struggle is ending, that the veil is lifting, that what you once hoped for is now becoming what you expect. You have aligned with the frequency of truth, and truth cannot be unseen. Once the law is known, it must work when it is lived. So live it. Live like one who is done with scarcity. Live like one who knows they are supported. Live like one who understands that money is not given by toil, but drawn by consciousness. Let your life become the proof. Others may ask, what changed? And you will know. It was not the economy, it was not a windfall, it was not a miracle in the sky. It was something invisible. It was a shift in vibration, a return to truth, a surrender to law, a choice to see yourself as you truly are, whole, worthy, powerful, rich in every way. That is when the supply turned. That is when the floodgates opened. That is when the money came. Not because it had to, but because it always wanted to. It was only waiting for you to say yes. You must begin to understand that nothing is withheld from you but by the barriers of your own inner agreement. Life responds to your dominant conviction, not your passing desire. You may want wealth, but if your subconscious is still echoing the lie that you are not worthy, or that having more means someone else will have less, or that to prosper is selfish or unsafe, then those beliefs will quietly cancel out the loudest affirmations. The law is precise. It does not deliver according to wish. It delivers according to identity. You must not just say you are prosperous. You must become prosperity in consciousness. The law knows no favorites, only principles. Just as fire will warm anyone who stands close enough, and water will quench the thirst of any who drink, so too does the law of abundance answer to the one who aligns with it. No matter their background, their past mistakes, or how long they've lived in struggle, the shift begins the moment you decide, I am no longer a beggar at the gates of life. I am the inheritor of divine wealth. I walk in authority. I speak with power. I move as one who knows. That shift causes all else to rearrange. Money, like everything else, is consciousness made visible. When you raise your consciousness, the amount in your bank account must also rise. But you cannot rise while holding on to the weights of past failures, old disappointments, or inherited beliefs that were never true to begin with. Let them fall. Lay them down like the heavy garments they are. They no longer serve you. You are no longer that version of yourself. Your identity has changed. You do not owe loyalty to a story that kept you in chains. Choose now to walk in the light of a new story, a story where you are loved, supplied, chosen, and supported. There is a difference between knowing about abundance and becoming abundance. One is intellectual, the other is experiential. You may have read all the books, spoken all the affirmations, and watched others succeed. But until you claim it for yourself, until you embody it in your tone, your posture, your decision-making, your expectation, it will remain a concept instead of a reality. You must go from theory to embodiment, from hopeful to certain, from waiting to receiving. This shift is internal, invisible, and silent, but it is the shift that turns keys in locked doors, the shift that moves unseen hands to act on your behalf. Do not wait for outer evidence to start feeling wealthy. Feel it now. Walk as though your provision has already arrived. Speak as one who is not wondering but knowing. Imagine the air around you charged with the very substance of supply. Let it become more real than the numbers you see, more real than the bills on your table, more real than what the world calls lack. For everything seen was once unseen, and what you hold in mind with feeling, what you believe without flinching, what you trust without doubt, must eventually step into form. This is law. The law does not operate through time as you understand it. It moves in seasons, in timing, in divine sequence. That is why you must not grow weary in the wait. A seed buried today will not sprout tomorrow, yet still it grows. So it is with the seed of wealth you plant through your words, your thoughts, your giving, and your faith. Do not dig it up with fear. Do not curse it with doubt. Leave it in the soil of expectancy. Water it with praise. Tend it with joy. And when the time is right, not a second too soon or too late, it will rise full-grown and undeniable. To live in harmony with divine wealth, you must also become a faithful vessel. Let money flow through you, not just to you. Hoarded water becomes stagnant. Flowing water remains pure. Give where you are led. Share what you are blessed with, not out of obligation, but out of understanding. Giving is not subtraction, it is multiplication. You cannot outgive the source. What you send forth in joy returns tenfold. Every act of generosity declares to the universe, I have more than enough, and I trust the Lord to bring more. That trust opens gates no effort can force open. There will be times when others misunderstand your prosperity. They may project guilt, envy, or judgment onto your abundance. Do not be shaken. Your wealth is not for show, it is for purpose, it is for impact. It is for the expansion of good. Hold it with humility, but never shame. You do not need to justify your increase to anyone. Only live with integrity. Use your abundance to bless, to build, to inspire. Let your life become a testimony of what is possible when one soul decides to rise above the noise of limitation and align with the truth of spirit. Always remember that you are not waiting for abundance. You are revealing it. Like a sculptor removing what does not belong to reveal the statue hidden within the stone, so too are you removing false belief after false belief until the truth of your abundance stands clear and radiant. There is nothing you need to add, only what you need to release. You are already connected to the storehouse of heaven. You are already plugged into the supply. Your role is to stay open, stay obedient, and stay in the atmosphere of belief. Every desire you hold was planted in you for a reason. The dream of financial freedom, the vision of overflow, the longing to give more and live more, it is not vanity, it is divine desire. And if the divine has placed it in your heart, then the way has also been made. Walk it, not with hesitation, but with trust, not in fear of failure, but with expectation of fulfillment. Say to yourself, I do not wish, I declare, I do not wait, I welcome, I do not chase, I attract. Let that become your daily mantra. Let that become your frequency. Nothing is too big for the law. No dream is too grand. The same force that spins galaxies, that grows forests from seeds, that brings the tide in and out like breath, is the force that governs your prosperity. There is no stress in this force, no worry, only perfect rhythm. Let that rhythm become your own. Align your breath with peace. Align your thoughts with power. Align your actions with trust. And watch how quickly what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. Your environment will begin to shift when you do. New people will come. Old patterns will fall away. Doors will open without effort. But these changes are not random, they are responses. The universe is always listening, always reflecting, always organizing around the energy you offer. So raise your energy, not through force, but through surrender. Surrender the struggle. Surrender the old story. Surrender the need to control it all, and step into the current of divine wealth that was always flowing beneath your feet, waiting for you to notice it. You are not lacking, you are learning. You are not late, you are aligning. You are not behind, you are becoming. Everything has been moving you toward this very moment. The words you now carry are seeds. And if you plant them, if you believe them, if you live them, they will grow into a life that does not merely survive but thrives. A life where you no longer worry about money, because you understand money. A life where you give without fear, receive without guilt, and live without limits. You were never meant to beg life for permission to prosper. You were meant to walk in the authority of divine truth and declare what is yours into being. Let that authority rise now. Let it speak louder than fear. Let it cancel every limitation. Let it remind you that abundance is not a destination. It is who you are. And the moment you accept that fully, the world cannot help but reflect it. When you look at your life now, choose to see it through the lens of potential, not limitation. What appears empty is not barren. It is simply awaiting instruction. Everything responds to your word. For your word is the mold into which spiritual substance is poured. If you speak in lack, lack takes form. If you speak in overflow, overflow takes form. And so you must become careful, deliberate with every sentence you speak over your money, your future, your work, your life. Speak not what is, but what is becoming. Speak not from reaction, but from revelation. For you are not here to describe your life, you are here to shape it. You must believe that your increase is already in motion, even when all the outer signs say otherwise. You must believe when the bills arrive, when the debt lingers, when others tell you it's not possible. Faith does not wait for approval from the world. Faith stands firm in the unseen and says, it is done even when the visible realm has not yet caught up. This is the law that governs supply, that you must receive inwardly before you can receive outwardly. There can be no manifestation without mental conception. The womb of your imagination must carry it first. If your life has shown you a pattern of scarcity, understand that it is not your destiny. It is a feedback loop. It is a reflection of past beliefs that no longer serve you. And when a belief no longer serves your highest good, it must be discarded like an old garment. Do not cling to what keeps you small. Let it go. Let go of the identity that says I never have enough. Let go of the story that says I always struggle. Let go of the lie that says some people just aren't meant to be rich. You are not some people, you are divine. There is no power in the external world that is greater than the power you hold within. The moment you stop waiting for the world to change and instead begin changing your consciousness, the outer world will bend. It cannot resist the shift in vibration. When you rise, everything around you must rise. When you affirm that you are aligned with abundance, you emit a frequency that calls forth everything needed to match that state. Helpers, ideas, opportunities, clarity, they will begin to show up, not randomly, but in perfect response to your newfound certainty. Do not measure your power by the size of your current paycheck or the scale of your current platform. Those things are subject to change. Instead, measure your power by the strength of your belief, the consistency of your inner alignment, and the quality of your thoughts. The person who is deeply rooted in truth does not need to see evidence to feel secure. Their security comes from knowing the law cannot fail. And so even in a season of silence, they are smiling. Even in a time of testing, they are trusting. And because of this, they rise and keep rising. The energy of wealth cannot flow in a space of clutter, mentally, emotionally, or physically. If you desire greater abundance, begin to make room for it. Create space for the new by releasing the old. Clean your home, forgive your past, organize your finances, declutter your thoughts. These are not small acts. They are signals to the universe that you are prepared to receive. When you release what no longer serves you, you tell the law, I am ready. And the law always honors readiness. The act of letting go is not a loss. It is a declaration of faith. You must begin to see your relationship with money as sacred. It is not profane, dirty, or to be feared. It is a divine current flowing through your life, seeking channels of purpose, generosity, and joy. When you honor money, you attract more of it. When you disrespect it, by worrying over it, misusing it, or speaking evil of it, you interrupt its flow. Say instead, money is my friend. It listens to me, it obeys me, it supports my vision, it multiplies in my hands. Speak as one who governs wealth, not one who is oppressed by it. When you walk into a store, walk with the posture of abundance. Even if you are not there to buy, carry yourself as one who can buy. Not to impress others, but to impress upon your subconscious that you are free. If you walk past what you want and whisper to yourself, "I could never afford that," then you are teaching your mind that abundance is not yours. But if you say, "That is beautiful, and I bless it. My supply is ever increasing, and soon I shall have even more than this," then you are teaching your subconscious to expect increase, and it will rise to match your instruction. There is no competition in divine law. No one can take what belongs to you, and what you desire does not need to be stolen, chased, or begged for. It needs only to be accepted. All that is truly yours cannot be withheld. The doors will open, the way will clear, and the supply will come, so long as you remain faithful to the truth. And the truth is this: there is always more than enough. More ideas, more clients, more opportunities, more provision. The well of divine supply has no bottom. Drink freely. Train yourself to notice abundance everywhere. Let your eyes become instruments of faith. When you see a flourishing business, say, "That is a reflection of my potential." When you pass by a luxurious home, say, "That is part of the abundance that I too am connected to." When someone else prospers, celebrate them. Their increase is proof that increase is available. Envy tells the universe that there isn't enough. Gratitude tells the universe that you're ready. Rejoice in another's gain as if it were your own, and soon it will be. Every setback is an invitation to elevate your belief. When something doesn't go as planned, resist the urge to spiral into fear. Instead, ask, "What belief within me created this? And what truth can I now embrace that will rewrite the pattern?" There is no punishment in divine law, only mirrors. The outer world reflects back the stories you believe to be true. Change the story, and the reflection must change. Say, "I am not stuck. I am not blocked. I am not cursed. I am learning. I am awakening. I am rising. And I will not return to the old way of thinking, not even for a moment." Abundance requires boldness. You cannot tiptoe into wealth. You must walk in with confidence, clarity, and conviction. That does not mean recklessness, it means divine assurance. It means you make decisions from vision, not from fear. You invest in yourself without apology. You say yes when the soul says yes, even if the numbers don't yet make sense. You follow the nudge. You take the leap, and you trust that the net will appear, because it always does when you're moving in alignment. There will be times when the blessing arrives suddenly, a breakthrough, a check, a contract, a shift. Do not call it luck. Call it the fulfillment of law. Do not say, "I don't know how this happened." Say, "Of course it happened. This is what I've been preparing for. This is what I've been aligning with. This is the visible result of all I've been declaring in secret." Let the manifestation not surprise you. Let it affirm you, and then do not shrink. Do not return to old ways of thinking. Stretch, expand, normalize overflow, for what comes quickly must be stabilized spiritually. You are not walking alone. There are unseen forces working on your behalf, guiding, protecting, arranging. When you say yes to truth, the entire universe conspires to support your growth. Every delay, every rejection, every closed door becomes part of your elevation. What you thought was a detour was direction. What you thought was loss was redirection. And what you thought you were denied was only being refined, so you could receive it in full and without sorrow. There is no future moment when you'll finally be ready. You are ready now, not because of perfection, but because of awareness. The moment you know who you are, the moment you accept what is yours, the moment you stop agreeing with limitation, you become a candidate for immediate transformation. No permission is needed. No approval is required. Only your belief. This is not the beginning of your abundance journey. It is your awakening to the truth that you have always been abundant. You are not trying to become wealthy. You are remembering that you already are. And that remembering is the key that opens every gate. Let the memory rise. Let the truth take root. Let the light in. And let the floodgates of divine supply pour into every area of your life, now fully and without resistance. And so let it be settled in your spirit. You are not separate from your supply. You were never meant to strive, beg, or chase what has already been given to you by divine right. The wealth you seek is not somewhere in the future. It is within you now, awaiting your recognition, your alignment, your faith. As you walk forward from this moment, do so with a new awareness, a new posture, a new declaration. I am one with the law of abundance. I trust it, I live it, I embody it. The unseen world is already shifting to reflect your inner change. Keep speaking with authority. Keep imagining with conviction. Keep giving with joy. Keep receiving with grace. The evidence will appear, the doors will open, the increase will come, not by accident but by law. For you have aligned, you have agreed, and now the wealth that has always been yours will begin to flow freely, faithfully and without end. It is done.